I have been using Maya since the mid 2000s, and there have been a lot of changes over those years. My favorite update they've ever come out with is the Circularize tool. Allow me to first show you what we used to do back in the Dark Ages if I want to turn this square into a circle. First things first, I need to add an edge loop with multiple edge loops. Number of edge loops 1, that will cut it perfectly in half, like that. So it cuts it both ways. Then go to vertex, grab the corners, and scale them in until this looks like a circle, or at least roughly circle-ish. If I wanted to make it even rounder, I'd have to add more edge loops into the middles, and grab each of the most distant points, and then scale them in a little bit. Now, this does give you something roughly circle-shaped. However, I am eyeballing this, and I cannot guarantee that it is a perfect circle. Also, I keep having to select more vertices each time I add more edges and scale them in, and that gets incredibly tedious after a while. Fortunately, the Circularize tool has made that much easier on me. Now, once again, I do still need to have all of these edge loops in here. It cannot circularize without them. And now I'm just going to select all the vertices in this square. I go to Edit Mesh, Circularize. And it just turns it into a perfect circle. I don't have to do anything. It clicks it, changes it immediately. I can also make adjustments with a little pop-up menu over here. I can change the radius of the circle. I can twist it if I need to. Sometimes it shows up twisted, and I have to just use this twist tool to retwist it back to where it belongs. Relax Interior changes how the vertices inside the circle are changed. The rest of these, the next one, I'll show you that in a little while. That's not going to matter right now. Add divisions. Do not mess with add divisions. That turns the outside into n-gons. These are all n-gons now because I've got all these extra vertices. We don't want those. If you want more vertices, add more edges. Oops, I missed one. All I have to do is reselect all these vertices, add mesh, and circularize again, and it just makes it a perfect circle once more. Another neat trick, if I want to turn this entire square-shaped rod into a cylinder, I can just select all these edge loops, like that, edit mesh, circularize, turn them all into circles. Now you can see here it got a bit twisted, but I should be able to make little adjustments. Nope. It got a little twisted, but that sometimes happens, sometimes it doesn't. It's a little bit hard to predict. What I could do is maybe try ignoring the top and bottom. Circularize. Use my twist. Line those back up again. Now I can grab my top and bottom. There. Worked perfectly. But the thing I like best about the Circularize tool is that it doesn't just work on flat surfaces. If, for instance, I wanted to create a circle here somewhere, I start by hitting the extrude tool, scaling the edges a little bit to create edges right there. If I try to do this the old way, by grabbing the four corners and then scaling them, as you can see, they're no longer flush to the surface. They're going inwards slightly. I don't want that. I want this to be a circle on the surface of this sphere. So instead, I'm going to select all these vertices here, edit mesh, circularize. May need to be twisting and reduce the radial offset to get that back inside. Like that. Now you can see, by default, this is a flat circle. Roughly on the surface of this, it sticks out a bit on the sides, not quite lining up with the shape of the sphere. So instead, I go to where it says alignment, change automatic, and I can see I've got surface per vertex and surface average. They both do roughly the same thing, but you can see how that automatically puffed out the middle of this to make this match the original curvature of the sphere. If I go to the other one, surface average, it basically does the same thing, but kind of changes how it's laid out. They're just slightly different versions. Pick one or the other until you pick the one that you like the most. And this is very, very useful for very specific purposes. In the old days, trying to make the Death Star would have been incredibly difficult to do to get this circle just right. Now it's
all too easy.